Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Is it really? I mean, look at what we have today. Hmm. I mean, really, that was a great question to ask. But hey, do we want to run and hide or what? I mean, I feel like going, managing conflict between two team members. Anyway, for those of you who dare staying and not hiding behind this particular conflict, then I think we will have some good learning points today. So welcome to the live Q&A series for team management and leadership skills development, people skills, leadership skills, management skills. I mean, how many of you were promoted, got promoted to managing a team of people, and they were just thrown into the water, right? No training, no help, no nothing. And here you are. And you need to manage the day-by-day stuff, and you have no idea where to start. You have no idea what to do. So this is for you. That's why I created the live Q&A series. This is why I created the Lead for Legacy League. This is exactly the reason, because all of the executives get the right kind of training and coaching and all of the programs and resources and everything so that they can be or they can become great leaders. But what about the mid to senior managers? What about the small business CEOs, not the top 500 Fortune CEOs, but the small business CEOs? Who helps them? So this is for you. And yes, you guessed, today's question is, how can I manage conflict between two of my team members? That was a tough question, and I will just run and hide like we all do, or like we all tend to do when we hear about it, because we don't like conflict. And especially if you're a manager that has your team members fighting about something, not physically, but about an idea, about a project or anything, that stuff. Okay. So let me know in the comments, for those of you who are here with me today. First of all, if you've ever had this situation before in your previous job, okay, not in your current job, because I know the current job is perfect and it's awesome and it's great, no problemo there, right? But what about previous experiences? Maybe you've had a conflict with another team member. What would you expect your manager to have done? How did your manager solve it? Did you find it useful? Did you not find it useful? Just put this in the comments. I would love to hear from you. So let's move on, because here we go. We actually can talk about it. And rule number one, whenever there's conflict involved, talk about it. Don't hide away from it, because that is definitely not going to solve anything. It's just going to make it worse, and things will explode at some point, right? So we're clear on that, right? We do not want to avoid discussing and addressing conflict. That's it. And then what have I done? I don't know. I'm clicking because I love conflict. Okay. So you, as the team leader, you are supposed to manage conflict if you're having the conflict. That's rule number two, right? So rule number one, address it. Rule number two if you're in it, then you manage it one way or another. You don't want to let it go like that and expect that it will get solved, because most of the times what happens with conflict that is not addressed, it just gets worse. Okay, now if you're not the one having the conflict, then you're the one who needs to facilitate the discussion. When members of your team, and actually let's make this bigger because you don't want to see me, you want to see this. That is important right now. And actually that helps me hide from conflict. Okay, so if you're the team leader and you're having the conflict, you manage it. If you're the team leader and your team members have a conflict, then you're the one who will be the facilitator of the discussion. And here's where I say to all of the team managers, team leaders, small business CEOs, coach, learn to be a good coach for your team, because that is exactly one of those times where coaching skills will help you address and resolve and help resolve conflict, right? Because you're not actually managing it. People on your team, they're adults, and they need to be able to learn how to manage their own conflict if they don't already know that, right? You're not there to solve their conflict. You're there to make sure that if they haven't been able to solve it just in a discussion between the two of them, then you have to facilitate for that discussion to happen. Because what happens when people have a conflict already, the emotional level is pretty high, right? And what happens when our emotions go high, our reasoning goes low, right? It was like this. I'm hiding. Why am I hiding? Because I don't like conflict, because I feel strongly about conflict, and I don't want to be in the same room with conflict, right? So because of my emotions, how can I expect that I will be able to reasonably address it in a rational way? So when emotions go high, reasoning, the rational side, is lower, is hidden behind, right? So that's where you, as the team leader, the team manager, that's where you need your coaching and facilitation skills in place that will definitely help you facilitate this discussion. And here's what needs to happen in these discussions. There are 4 steps that help you facilitate a discussion between 2 team members who have a conflict. First of all, because you want to know all of the details, and you won't be able to know all of the details because they're the only ones involved and they know everything, but you want to give them a voice to express that. So step number 1 is knowing what the problem is and what the conflict is about. Now, this right here, this sounds easy, but let me tell you, it's not, because most of the time when we have conflict, we have emotional going high, right? And people who want to know that they are being heard and understood and accepted. Emotional needs, basic emotional needs, and I'm going to say it again: be heard, understood, and accepted. Or better yet, loved. But hey, that's another discussion. I get it. We're at work, but we want to be accepted. So when whatever it is, we're discussing processes, we're discussing people, ideas, whatever it is, we want to know that we're being heard and understood and accepted. So that's what you want to do here. Discuss what the problem is and what the conflict is really about. Because it might be that they say, well, because you're not responding to my emails and I've been emailing you and I've got no answer, no replies. But the conflict really is, I cannot count on you. I feel I cannot count on you because I'm not getting anything back. I'm talking to a wall here. And that's just one of the examples, right? So what you want to do is help people on your team address the problem, and you want to know what the conflict is about. And then step number 2 is what I will stop right here because there's a typo on my slide. And I have to state the obvious. It's not what might be the cause, it's what might be the cause. So I have to say it. So step number 2, what might be the cause? You want to know what causes this problem, because it might be a one-time problem, or it might be an issue that was actually unaddressed before that grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and it became a conflict. So you want to go to the cause. What is causing this problem and what might be possible solutions? So here you have the balance. That's why I put this in one question, because you want to address both cause and solution. And there you have the balance, which helps people discuss. You're opening the dialogue. You don't want to get stuck in the cause here, right? You want to hear about, okay, so this is the cause. This is what's causing it. What could be solving it, right? It's like going to the doctors, right? Once you know the diagnosis, you want to know, okay, so if this is causing the pain, then what can I do to alleviate that pain, right? Okay. Now, step number 3, what are next steps? Possible next steps. And here you just, again, you open up the discussion about what next steps we see here. What needs to be done? Here you create the action points, right? How are we going to implement those solutions that we were discussing in point number 2? And then step 4, how are we measuring progress? How will we know that we've been successful? And super important, what follow-up do we need? What usually tends to happen, and I've seen it so many times when conflict happens, team members have a conflict, okay, we address it, we talk about it, we discuss the next steps. Here's what we're going to do. You do this, I do that. Okay, perfect. Everybody goes to work. We're all going to do the thing that we need to do, and then that's it. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes people just get back to their old ways of doing things, and the conflict is not solved. It's just postponed to a later date. So what we want to do is make sure that we measure, that we have some kind of follow-up. Now, some people need more follow-up than other people. So that's where it's important to know the styles of your team members, your style as a leader, your style as a manager, and also their style. So go back if you haven't been here for the live session where we discussed personality assessments and impact assessments, working styles assessments. Go and check the link in the description, and you are getting all of the things that we've discussed here before. And go and watch that one, because that will actually be pretty helpful for you in understanding how people work and what they need, because you have different people with different needs. You, as a team leader, as a team manager, you have your own needs of being managed, maybe by your direct manager, or if you don't have one, how you manage yourself, or how you expect your team to manage projects and to manage work. And that comes with your own needs of management. And that's why I'm saying some people will need more follow up and regular follow up. Some people won't need that much of it, but make sure whatever you do that you answer this question: how will we know we've been successful? And when? I mean, we've had this issue, and if it was an issue that was reoccurring, how much time do we allow ourselves to implement the solutions to actually see that this is working? And if it doesn't work, when are we going to stop it? And when are we going to start looking for a different solution that actually works better? That is important in any kind, not just for conflict, because I see this a lot, especially in development areas, in where people set development goals for themselves or for their team. And we have this discussion, okay, so your development goal, and by the way, definitely when you set development goals, make sure that they're related to business goals, to what you want to do, where you want to go as a team, as a business, as an organization, because otherwise, if the development goals do not serve this purpose so that you can actually see results, clear results and benefits, those development goals are never going to happen. People are not going to work towards them. And you, as a team leader, as a team manager, you are not going to care about them too much if they don't give you business results, improvement, tangible, right? Because development is intangible up until it actually starts giving and producing tangible results. So you want to follow up on that. You want to have a measurement, an idea of how will I know? How will I know that this has been successful? Okay. What I always like to think about is what's more important than conflict management. Because, hey, you know what? There has to be something that's more important than that, because people don't like conflict too much. And I'm not talking about the full conflict management. I'm not giving a full conflict management course here. But those were the 4 steps in which you can manage conflict. But even more important than conflict management, is there anything? Like, really? I think there is. And I think you know what I'm talking about. And it's conflict prevention, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. Conflict is good and it's healthy, and it's going to be there if you have especially if you have a solid team. It's going to be there because there are going to be different people, different ideas, different ways of doing things. And that is perfect. That is great, right? And there will be some kind of conflict, and maybe they won't fight over it, but they will have conflicting ideas and opinions. But like with anything else, prevention is best, because you want to address issues before they become a conflict. Now, we can have a contradictory discussion that's not necessarily a conflict. Conflict typically involves emotions, a lot of emotions there. And that is why, again, people cannot be reasonable, because they're so emotional in the conversation. So when I start to address issues before they become a conflict, that's when I'm helping people discuss and have a rational conversation before they get emotional about it. And that's more productive, and that's more helpful. I want to have that. I want to have different ideas and debate. I want to have a debate around what we can do to improve. But if I can help discussing that when it's just a debate and not a conflict, that's even better, because it will be a relief for everybody on the team, and including me as a team leader or as a team manager, because it takes the pressure off. It takes the pressure of highly emotional engagement. It takes that pressure off because we're not there yet, right? So how do we prevent conflict? Okay, fine, Roxana, fine. Okay, yeah, sure, conflict prevention. But how? There's actually, it's not a quick fix, but it is a fix. It's not quick because it takes time to develop. It takes time to grow this in an organization, in a business, wherever you are. It doesn't matter if it's a small team or a large team, if it's a small organization or a large one. But conflict prevention goes hand in hand with feedback. And what I mean to say is regular feedback. So I'm not saying performance reviews, because sometimes what I find is that when we say feedback, we either think of criticism or performance reviews. There's two options here. And really, when I think about performance reviews, typically I think about what I'm going to hear that's wrong, that I do wrong. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about regular, daily feedback, and not just like not once a day at noon we're giving feedback to each other. No, I'm not saying that. Asking for feedback and giving feedback to each other as we are working on projects together. And we can think about it in the most simplistic terms, as in what we like, what we don't like in the way that we're working, what we need, what we don't need. It can be, if it's just that, it's huge, because so many times we don't say it because we think we don't have time, because we think it's not going to matter, because we think people aren't going to care, because we think nothing's going to change. We come up with so many excuses of why even bother. But the more we do that, the more we create the working culture, because people create the working culture, not the other way around, right? So culture doesn't, is not there telling you what to do and how to do things. The way that we do things, the way that we work together, that's what creates the culture. So the minute I come and say, okay, look, we've been working on this for a while. What I like is this. What I don't like is this. How can we change that? Can we change that? Because I would actually need to have more feedback from you. I would actually need to hear more often. I would actually need to meet more often, and so on. So it can be just that. And it's so powerful because that creates trust. Because the minute that I know that you're going to let me know when things are going well and what you like about us working together, that's important, because that creates a framework of what's acceptable and how we do things around here. That's culture. But I can also count on you to let me know that I have something on my face. I don't have something on my face now, but what if I did? Would you tell me? Even if you could tell me, would you comment? If I had something on my face, would you comment and let me know, hey, Roxana, you have something on your face? Because when we talk about feedback, culture, conflict, all of these things, we think about things are complicated and big and wow, I don't even know where to start. But here's the thing, they start from small things. And trust is built in small steps, in the most maybe insignificant steps that you don't even think about. That's when you build trust. When I know that I can count on you to tell me the good and the bad when it happens, when we need to do something about it, that's what builds trust. Because the last thing that you want people to do is find out that you've been so unhappy working with them for the past 5 years and you never mentioned a thing. And what are you going to get? They're going to say, why didn't you say anything? So let me know how this is going to be helpful to you. If you have any other questions related to conflict management, absolutely feel free to ask, because we can have a follow-up on this conversation. And also, if you have any questions about really anything that relates to people management, team management, management skills, and leadership skills, anything that you are struggling with right now and that you would need some resources for, some answers on, and so on. So if you've missed the previous Q&As, they're all on the All Personal Learning platform, and we've discussed about recommended resources for people management, for people and management skills development. And you get some book recommendations and also some links to podcasts that are helpful to you, videos, TED Talks, and some more resources that are helpful in giving you some different perspectives of how to manage teams, how to be a good leader, how to become the leader that you want to become, because we all have different styles and different ways of leading. So if you're looking to become the leader that you want to become, these are going to be useful resources for you. We've discussed assessments, and again, you do want to have a look at that just to make sure that you start to understand how people work differently, and how that's good for you, your business, and your team. You're going to see, how do I motivate a multi-generational team? Because again, different needs for millennials, for Generation X, for boomers, and for Generation Z who are just entering the workforce. And how can I engage my team more during virtual meetings? That was the last one that we had last week, and that was super fun. And it's an exercise that you can do with your team anytime for decision making. And also that might help with conflict management. I mean, why not? Yeah, now that I think about it. And if you want more of these, what we're discussing here with the live Q&As, this is what we're discussing in the Lead for Legacy League that I created. So it's the online program for management and leadership development. And you get online courses for team management and leadership skills. You have assessments that you can take. Group coaching, we meet every week. Group coaching, Q&As, discussions, strategies, networking, brainstorming, all of it. And it's a monthly membership group, so you can try it for a month, see how it helps you, if it helps you, but you come with your own challenges, with your own case studies, with your own situations, and we discuss them. And we speak from 1 week to the next. We have a WhatsApp group as well. So come join us and see if this benefits you. We have the schedule already done for February and March. So this is what we're going to do. And basically the structure is pretty much the same. So we have a week where we do training and coaching, another one where we do group coaching. Week 3, we do a hot seat. And week 4, we do a strategy session. So, but we have different conversations depending on what it is that the members, the league members need, right? So for instance, on February 16th, we're going to talk a little bit about self-care for high performance. That's going to be a mini training, and then online training Q&A. So from the members who are taking online courses, they can ask their questions, and we discuss some profiles. We clarify, we look at how we are different in the league and how that's helpful, and we look at how we can use that in our teams, in our organizations. It's a great way to not just learn about skills, but practice them. And from one week to the next, you're going to see improvements. Talking about measuring success and how you're going to know that you are successful, that is what this does, because it helps you, it supports you on the long run. It does not, it does not end, because the reason why, and I'm going to end it here because again, I can talk about it for a full week. The reason why a single training session doesn't help is that, well, it's just that. It's an event that you go to. And learning is not an event. Learning is a habit. So the more you can actually apply the learning and get the support that you need in applying that learning, that's when you're going to see the results. That's when you're going to reap the benefits. It's like going to the gym. So come join us in the Lead for Legacy League. Again, you can join for a month. Doesn't work for you, not your thing, you can move on. That would be lovely to hear from you on how you're managing conflict, how a manager at some point in time helped you solve a conflict that you were having. What did they do? What was helpful or what was unhelpful and you wish they had done? And other than that, make sure that you are here on Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time for another live Q&A series. Until then, send me your questions and I'll be absolutely happy to answer, just like I was today with the session about conflict. Okay. Bye for now.